All right.
Okay, let's listen to Simon Dan show how little he knows about real science, okay? Oh, what happened here?
Slide your mouse over to that screen.
Oh, okay. Mouse on that screen.
Known for thinking that dinosaurs walked with man, came up with a new show named specifically because of you. Well, that is exactly what happened when Kent Hovind started his Whack an Atheist Wednesday show. His reason? Because I kept having a dig at his ridiculous reasons for evolution not being true. Going as far to call himself Dr. Kent the Science Gent, he has now decided that he's going to debunk Google.
Poor Dan.
Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Yes, Kent Hovind and I have had a few back and forths over the last year, which culminated in me offering to go over to his dinosaur adventureland and debunk him in person if he passed a short test.
Dan, this is a straw man, okay? The teacher gives the test, not the student, okay? You need to learn from me. I don't even require a test from you. I'm not going to take a test for you to come have a debate with me. If I'm stupid, come show the audience how stupid I am, Dan. This is a way to weasel out of a test, you coward, okay? Out of a debate. So no, you're not going to give me a test to determine if I'm qualified to debate you. I'm way overqualified to debate you, as you'll see in a minute.
Well, he dodged that and decided to debate
I dodged it. You coward. Come on, bring it on, Dan.
conspiracy cats instead. I'm not sure if he was prepared for that. Recently, Ken has decided in his infinite wisdom that he's going to take on Google regarding evidence for evolution. We simply have to watch this one, don't we? Let's watch Kent as he warms up.
Well, Google and all the people writing the software for that are still presenting the same old tired arguments for evolution. Fossils provide solid evidence that organisms from the past are not the same as those found today. Fossils show a progression of evolution. No, they do not.
Yes, they do. Just saying no, they don't doesn't make it true.
And just saying yes, they do doesn't make it true, Dan. Fossils show something died. Well, let's keep listening here, okay? Fossils show that something died. This guy's good. Listen. End of story. He's right.
That looks pretty convincing to me, don't you think?
No, I don't, Dan. And let me explain it to you, okay? You think the horse evolution is, let's see, where did I go here? I got 3 different PowerPoints. One's open. Is that the one I need? I don't have it on my screen. That's the last one. Fossils do not show a progression. There we go. Okay, got it. Okay. So Dan shows the picture and says, that looked pretty convincing to me. Is that what he just said? Okay. That's because you don't know science, Dan. Okay. The phony, long disproved horse evolution that you just showed a la-di-da-di-da picture of appears in nearly all the textbooks promoting evolution as one of the best examples known for evolution. They're doing this, and I got all the textbooks right here. Come take a look at them, okay? They say, oh, you look at the horse evolution. How many learned about this when you went to school? The horse evolution series. Look at this. Eohippus, Mesohippus, all the way up to the modern horse. Evolution of the horse. Dan's going to say in a minute, it's similar to watching your children grow. No, Dan. You know it's your child when you take a picture every year and can watch them change. When you find bones in the dirt, you do not know that it's the same animal. You do not know that one you found the bones of had any kids at all, okay? Let's talk about the horse evolution for a minute. This has been proven wrong a long time ago. It's lie number 51 on my series of seminar part 4, which you can get for $50, the whole 18-hour series called 855 Big Dino. Proven wrong 50 years ago. This whole horse evolution series that you showed, Dan, that sounded pretty good to you, was made up by Othniel Marsh in 1874, who was a strong believer in Darwin's new theory that had just come out a couple years earlier. And he was desperately looking for some evidence for Charlie Darwin's theory. He found bones scattered all over the world. They're not from the same location. He arranged them in order. Modern horses are found in layers with and lower than the so-called ancient horse. Dan? Think about that for 5, maybe 20 minutes in your case, okay? The ancient horse, the Hyracotherum, is not a horse, but just like the hyrax that is still alive in Turkey today. It's even called Hyracotherum because it looks like a hyrax, okay? The ribs, the toes, the teeth are different. South American fossils go from one-toed to three-toed. That's reverse order. They're never found in the order presented. And three-toed and one-toed horses graze side by side. But they put it in the textbooks with this Hyracotherum. Well, that's the hyrax, Dan. It's still alive today. It's no relation to the horse. Let me show you here. This is a hyrax. Can you see the horse in that thing? Hyrax is still alive today in Turkey and in Africa. Has no relation to a horse. There is the foot, the top left corner of a hyrax. Does that look like a hoof? Okay? No. Hyraxes nurse their babies from tits on the front of their body. Horses do it from the back of the body. Dan, they're not related at all, okay? No relation. Stop lying to people about this. There's the skull of the hyrax. Here's the skull of the horse. Well, let's see. Did the nostril have to move 6 inches or so over millions of years while it slowly turned to a horse? Look at the front teeth on a hyrax. They're actually called tusks. They grow like tusks on an elephant, okay? Here's the teeth on a horse. Dan, they are not related, okay? The hyrax did not turn to a horse. Wired website did one. Hyrax has a multi-chambered stomach. They are not ruminants. They have a 3-chambered stomach. Well, interesting. They don't get, the babies aren't born with the proper digestion enzymes, so they have to eat the poop of their parents to get the digestive enzymes into their system. Horses don't do that, Dan, okay? Horses have a single stomach. Let's see. Horses are classified as non-ruminant herbivores. This means they have the capacity to break down cellulose and hemicellulose components in forages without the 4-chambered stomach that cattle have. So how did the hyrax with a 3-chambered stomach change to a horse with a 1-chamber? I know. Millions of years. I know, Dan. I know your answer, okay? Let's see. Hyrax has tusks, long, point, tusk-like incisors. They're related to elephants and manatees. Not a horse? Let's see. They give rise to the elephant and the manatee and dugongs. Okay. The hyrax lack a scrotum and their testicles remain nested in their abdominal cavity. Horses definitely have testicles, Dan. Look at the south side of a North going horse and you'll see them for yourself, okay? The hyrax is nothing related to the horse, okay? Nothing related, but they put this garbage in the textbooks and call it science, and kids believe it. And you call yourself Sci-Man Dan, and thousands of people watch your channel, and they believe it. Oh, wow, look at the horse evolution series. Sound pretty convincing to me. Look, the hyrax had, Eohippus had 18 pairs of ribs. Next one had 15 pairs, and then 19 pairs, and then 18 pairs. What happened here, Dan? Ran through the slicer or something? They put this in the textbooks and call it evolution. There's quite a variety of horses alive today. Itty bitty, we got some little miniature horses out here. They're cute as a button. And there's some awfully big ones out there. Back in 1950, before I was born, many examples commonly cited, such as the evolution of the horse family or saber-toothed tigers, can readily be shown to have been unintentionally falsified and not be really orthogeneic. This is from G.G. Simpson, the famous evolutionist. 1951, the early classical evolution tree of the horse was all wrong. Oh, okay. The uniform continuous transformation of Hyracotherum to Equus, so dear to the hearts of generations of textbook writers, never happened in nature, G.G. Simpson said, from Harvard University. Biology textbook sitting right here. Other examples, including the much repeated gradual evolution of the modern horse, have not held up under close examination. Dan, that's 1992, nearly 30 years ago. And you're Sci-Man Dan, so quoting the horse evolution, look pretty good to you. You're way behind on your science. Tulsa Zoo finally removed the evolution of the horse evolution, the exhibit of the horse evolution, because so many people complained, said this is lying, but it still remains on display at Yale University. They don't have anything to fill the box if they take it out, do they? There's a great book, Icons of Evolution, dealing with the, I'm wound up tonight, man. This guy fires me up. Sweetly in Christian love. Okay. Excellent book showing all the fatal flaws in the horse evolution story. Just arranging animals in order does not prove any relationship, Dan. This is line number 52 in my video series, Lies in the Textbooks, video number 4. And finding them in a certain order of burial doesn't prove anything. If I get buried on top of a hamster, does that prove he's my grandpa? He was lower in the strata. Piecing together fragmentary evidence, I've been able to reconstruct the evolution of silverware. I spent millions of my own dollars, which I don't have, without using any taxpayer dollars. I discovered some spoons are slightly bigger than other spoons. So that proves they're slowly evolving. I knew I had the order. I knew it went from a knife to a spoon through great pressures, geological pressures, dished it out, and then erosion cut grooves into the end, but I felt like I had a missing link. I couldn't find it. I just felt like there's got to be a missing link in here somewhere. And then one day I was on US Air flying someplace, I forget, and the stewardess came down the aisle and handed it to me, the missing link. Later, I found one at Popeye's Fried Chicken. I now have the evolution of silverware very complete. I put them in order, Dan, didn't I? Look at that. That looks pretty good to me. Hang on. Slide number 90. Alt-DV, 90, enter. There. Many mutants, of course, did not survive over the years, all right? As people found out I was doing research on the fork evolution, they sent me their finds. Some are only hoping to find fame and fortune. Many frauds, such as this obvious fork head on a spoon handle, have been submitted as evidence, but my trained scientific eye caught it right away. Said, no, that's a fraud. Now, you're still teaching the horse evolution. There's good articles on Answers in Genesis about that and apologeticspress.com. The horse evolution is wrong. It's not true, Dan. Stop teaching it. And then you're going to say, this is down to whether or not you know how fossils form. Let me skip up to 4 minutes on his slideshow, on his thing here. Right here. 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Got to slide the thing over here. All right. Okay. The fossil record. There's no such thing as a fossil record. See, I don't have to change my arguments because they're right. They said, one guy said, Hovind uses the same old argument, same old slide. Yeah. Bothers you, doesn't it? Truth doesn't change. When I taught math, 2 plus 2 is 4. Any other answer would be wrong. Mm-hmm. If you find a fossil in the dirt, all you really know is it died.
Well, yes, but you can figure out so much more in today's day and age. They can tell us how the organism died. And
can you find a fossil in the dirt and tell them how the organism died? Occasionally. If it's got a spear point stuck in the skull, that might be a good, indicator. Keep going, Dan.
They can tell us how long ago it lived.
You cannot determine how long ago it lived, Dan. How are you going to do that? You think carbon dating works? Watch my seminar part 7. All the dating methods, carbon, rubidium, strontium, lead-208, lead-206, all of them are based on the assumption that we know the decay rate has remained constant. We know there was no contamination during this whole process, and we know there was nothing in it to begin with of that daughter product. In a court of law, none of the dating methods would hold up for 2 seconds with an honest judge. So you do not know when it lived, Dan.
They can infer its size, its shape, its diet, even what its internal organs were like.
I'll let that slide. You can tell what the internal organs were like from the fossils. Okay. You don't know it had any kids, and you sure couldn't prove it had kids that lived. Yeah, I found a fossil. This one had 7 children. Right. You can tell that from the bone.
Well, no, but that's not what happens anyway. As usual, Kent, you're thinking in timescales that are way too small.
Here we go, folks. The magic ingredient, the pacifier that keeps all the evolutionists from crying. Time. Watch the little short clip, 1 minute long, that Matt Powell did. Kent Hovind, Matt Powell, Thug Life. How many have seen that? We need more time, Kent. You want to take away the time. We need more time. Okay. Again, they lived, and what color tennis shoes they had on? Okay. You could never prove it had different kids other than its kind. Why do evolutionists claim bones in the dirt can do something living animals cannot do? You say, where's the animals today producing something other than their kind?
And that is something that is never said or expected. The change is gradual. There's a reason why Richard Dawkins named his book Climbing Mount Improbable.
I think it should change Mount Impossible. Okay.
It's similar to watching your children grow. From day to day, you won't notice a difference in how they look. But after 10 years, they'll look very different indeed.
I think you would know it's the same child, though, wouldn't you? You're finding this bone in Africa and another bone in South America, and you know they're related. I mean, we had 2 cows have a calf in the last month. Guess what? It's going to grow up and be a cow.
And why wouldn't it? But make no mistake, cows are still evolving, just very, very slowly.
Oh, yeah? How many cows have people watched be born or develop over the human history? Have people been raising cows for a long time? What is the generation time for a cow? I don't know. Would they get born and grow up and get married in, 3 years? They're old enough to have their own babies? With humans, it's a lot longer. Let's take something with a much shorter generation time, like bacteria. They get born, grow up, and get married in 20 minutes. How many bacteria generations could they watch in the laboratory in one human lifespan? Millions. Guess what they're still producing when they reproduce? Bacteria. Dan, you don't observe it going slowly or rapidly. You don't observe it at all. You dream, you imagine that it happened. That's all evolution is pure imagination, okay? Our chickens have a lot of eggs, and when we let them hatch, guess what they turn out to be?
Breakfast?
Chickens.
Ah, yes, of course.
Our parakeets, one of them just laid a bunch of eggs, well, 10 of them, I think, there are 10 eggs in there. I would be willing, before we even open the egg, I'd be willing to bet what's in there. A T-Rex, that's right. Where is the evidence of any fossils forming today? Where is the evidence of any animal producing offspring other than its kind today?
Well, this is all down to whether or not you know how fossils form. And the main way that happens is if an animal dies and is buried in mud or silt. Over huge amounts of time, that sediment hardens into rock. Again, over time, water in the rock dissolves any skeleton and minerals take its place. That is your fossil. You will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course of a human lifetime.
Dan, you are going to eat those words, son. Okay, you will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course of a human lifetime. Let's see, where did I go? I think it's this one. Why do I have 3 different PowerPoints up, Steve? There it is. There it is. Okay. No, got the wrong one. How do I get it back where I want it to go here? There we go. Okay. He said, you have to know how fossils form. I'm not up. Yeah.
Go to the next one.
Huh?
Just change slides. You go back to. All right. Never mind.
Okay. Okay. You will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course of human lifetime. The Bible says in 2 Peter chapter 3, knowing this first, there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lust and saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of. Willingly ignorant. That, in Hebrew, that means dumb on purpose. Okay? That by, that'd be Greek, I'm sorry. That by the word of God, the heavens were of old. They don't understand how the world was made. And the earth standing out of the water and in the water. We covered that on video number 2. What was the creation like? Okay. Secondly, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. See, the world was destroyed by a flood. The fossils all formed quickly because of Noah's flood. And the earth, which are now by the same word, that's the word of God, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. The scoffers are ignorant of the creation and the flood and the coming judgment. Let's see. How long does it take for things to fossilize? I Googled, and it said 10,000 years. It takes 10,000 years for something to fossilize. You really think so? How about a fossil teddy bear? A fossil pickle sent to me in the jar. The jar was made after 1960. We looked at the numbers on the bottom and sent it to the factory. How about a fossil rose? Takes 10,000 years to fossilize. I see. Okay. Therefore, by definition, the minimum time it takes to make a fossil is 10,000 years. I see. That's lie number 15 on my series. Science news for students entered today. Surprise, fossils in a flash. Surprise! What the study of death, decay, and instant fossils is telling science about how life has evolved. So even if it forms instantly, it's proof for evolution. Yeah, okay, got it here. Got it. Here's the article. Long dead fish rears its ugly head. This animal lived 100 million, you got to do it sanctimoniously, 100 million years ago. When dinosaurs still roamed, after it died, it fossilized so quickly that its individual cells were preserved in stone. Dan, pay attention. How long does it take fossils to form? March of 2019. Let's see. Water flowing in sediments surrounding buried organisms allowed dissolved minerals to seep through the bones and shells and this replacement fossil. Contrary to what many people believe, including Dan, permineralization may not take a long time. Given the right geochemical conditions during burial, permineralization can occur rapidly, ranging from within a few hours to a few years. Few hours to a few years. Let's see. Experiments carried out to replicate the fossil embryo showed that fossilization happened in a very short span. A few days, an increase in 4 to 8 weeks. You will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course of a human lifetime. Oh, really, Dan? Okay. Unlike bones and teeth, which can survive for hundreds of millions of years, soft tissues are among the first materials to disappear during the fossilization process. Even so, scientists have found intact soft tissue in dinosaur bones. Really? Dinosaur shocker. Probing a 68 million year old T-Rex. I see. They found, let's see, red blood cells still in the tissue. They asked Jack Horner if he would carbon date them. They offered him $23,000 to do it. He refused because he knew it would come back less than 6,000 or 10,000 years old. And he said, that's a dinosaur. It can't be less than 10,000. I'm not even going to carbon date it. He said, Jack, we'll give you $20,000. No, $23,000. That's all they had to offer, I guess. Why not? What's the problem, Jack? So Schweitzer, who now claims she's a Christian, but now is really backpedaling to keep her job, I guess, is claiming, no, these dinosaurs are millions of years old, but she found soft tissue. How about the best fossil octopus ever found? Is an octopus soft tissue? Fossil octopus, let's see, cephalopod. Images for fossil octopus. Just Google it, Dan, since we're whacking Google, okay? Google fossil octopus. Let's see. Fossil octopus is a Jurassic jewel. There's no such thing as a Jurassic period. That's another story, okay? Rare fossil octopus. New fossil octopus and squids. They find soft tissue animals fossilized all the time. Here is a fossilized lobster? Shrimp. It has the antenna still on it. The itty bitty tiny antenna. Are they bone? Fossilized shrimp. It's in our museum. You can come see it. Okay. How about this guy? Fossil fish. Still has all intact. Why would it stay intact if it's decomposing? Wouldn't the scavengers drag it all over the ocean or something, you know? Why did they found millions of complete skeletons still intact? The head bone connected to the neck bone, and the neck bone connected to the backbone, and on and on and on, okay? Here's a fossilized petrified wood that's been chopped on. I would be willing to bet money they chopped it before it fossilized. Dan, how about the fossilized dog stuck up in a tree? They cut down the tree in Georgia. Southern Forest World Museum has it in Waycross, Georgia. Don Brown has the dog. Mr. Taylor, this was years ago when I had these phone numbers. They might have changed. Apparently the dog crawled up in a tree, got stuck, turned to stone, or turned mummified anyway. Stuck in the tree. They named it Stucky. Okay. Petrified cowboy boot with the cowboy's leg still in it. They contacted the boot company that made the boot. They said, those are the kind of boots we made. I think that was 1960s. So I'd be willing to bet the cowboy put his leg in after the boot was made. Is that reasonable? You will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course of a human lifetime. Oh, really, Dan? How about a fossilized fish in the process of giving birth? How long does it take to give birth, Dan? Would that be, does the birth process take less than a human lifetime? How many women have had a baby and would say, yes, it takes less than a human lifetime to have a baby? Might feel like a human lifetime when you're having it, right? Okay. You will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course. Dan, you are wrong. Okay, you're wrong, okay? How about a fossilized hat found in New Zealand, a bowler's hat, turned to stone? You'll never. So when did they invent bowling? And when was a hat put on? How long did it take the hat to fossilize? Never. Here's the fossilized pickle right here in our museum. The jar got broken, but there it was in the original jar. The lid rusted off. The guy called me from Montana. He said, Brother Hovind, there's an old house out in the woods. The wall fell down. The roof fell off. The house is barely standing. But the part of the pantry was still there, and inside was a pickle jar with a pickle in it. And the lid had rusted off, and it dried out, and the pickle turned to stone. Would you like it for your museum? I said, of course. Who in their right mind would not want a petrified pickle? Of course we want it for the museum. Come see it, Dan. Okay? Happened the jar was made after 1960. You can talk Dave Crosby. Cosby's the one who found it. I don't know if his address is still good. This is the rest I had from years ago. And you will never, never see a fossil over the course of human lifetime. In Arkansas, they had a flour mill that flooded in 1910. river came up, flooded the flour mill. They just built a new one up a little higher this time, okay? When they went digging around in the old flour mill, they found sacks of flour that had turned to stone. Fossilized sacks of flour. Dan, let's see. You can see the thread stitching on the bag. Do you see it? This is a gunny sack full of flour from 1910. Let's see. You will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course of a human lifetime. Ripley's Museum in St. Augustine, Florida has fossilized peanut cluster. How long would peanuts last buried? Don't you think they would rot in less than a human lifetime, Dan? How about fossilized charcoal briquettes? Charcoal, let's see. These are the petrified charcoal we found beside our garage when we added another building. There have been cowboys working this land for 50 to 70 years. Where we found these was a trash pile beside the garbage. The rain would wash them regularly as there were no rain gutters, so the charcoal briquettes turned to stone. Dan, you will never see it in less than a human lifetime? Really? There's our fossilized teddy bear. Petrified toadstool. It's in the Funk Gem and Mineral Museum in Shirley, Illinois. A toadstool. Would you say that is soft tissue? Turned to stone, Dan. Kid came to me at a seminar one time. He's from North Carolina. He said, his mother and kid walked up. He was 7 years old. He said, Brother Hovind, I put a bunch of acorns in a bucket of water last year, hoping they would sprout, and I forgot about them. He's 7 years old, you know. A year later, the bucket had dried out, and Mom found the acorns in there, turned to stone. She said, Mr. Hovind, would you like them for your museum? Who would not want petrified acorns? Of course we want the petrified acorns, okay? You will never, never see it less than a human lifetime. Here, Dan, a 7-year-old kid did it in a year. You don't know what you're talking about. One thing all types of fossilization share in common is they require the dead organism to be trapped underneath layers of sediment. Well, now hold it. What would quickly trap things under layers of sediment? How about a flood? But see, the scoffers are ignorant, willingly ignorant of that flood. This is what makes the fossilization such a rare event. Oh, really? There are billions of fossils in the ground. We're probably lighting these lights in the building from somebody burning coal someplace, which is from the flood of Noah. Usually to be destroyed by decay and scavenging before it has a chance to be fossilized. But under the right conditions, fossilization can occur relatively quickly, in the ballpark of hundreds or thousands of years. Oh, you never see it happen. Let's see. Let's just consider permineralization. What most of us think of when we think about fossilization. It requires a good ability of minerals such as sulfur, iron, carbon, silica in the water or sediments around the fossil. The more minerals that are available, the more rapidly fossilization can occur, assuming other conditions are optimal. The speed at which this occurs will also depend strongly on the size of the organism. The bigger it is, the longer it takes to fossilize. Tiny organisms like eggs or embryos can actually fossilize relatively quickly, perhaps in a matter of weeks or months. Would weeks or months be less than a human lifetime? Oh, okay. In the laboratory, paleontologists have just been able to fossilize lobster and shrimp eggs in just 2 to 8 weeks. You will never, and I mean never, see a fossil form over the course of a human lifetime. Oh, really, Dan? Researchers in Washington have developed a method that can speed up the process of wood petrification in the lab, producing chemically petrified wood in just a matter of days. Whoa. You will never see it happen in a lifetime. Cover much more on fossilization on video number 6 of my series, Dan. No, Dan, the horse evolution never happened, and it does not take 10,000 years for fossils to form. You can consider yourself whacked, okay? That's only the first 5 minutes of your video, Dan. We're going to do the rest next week. Now, Dan, listen carefully. If you continue to teach that the horse evolution is evidence for your religion, or teach that it takes a long time for fossils to form, both of which are a lie, I will begin calling you Lie-Man Dan instead of Simon Dan. Do you understand? And I'll do it publicly right over the internet because you would be a liar. You've been whacked, Dan. I strongly suggest you stick with the flat earth where you have some real understanding of science. But you do not understand science when you're talking about the horse evolution or fossilization, Dan. Petrified clams in the closed position are found by the millions. We have hundreds and hundreds here in our museum. What would that mean for a clam to be petrified in the closed position? Had to be buried alive. As soon as a clam dies, it opens up and something eats it. You can walk along the beach and find a million seashells. How do you get a matched pair? Closed. Had to be buried alive quickly. You mean like maybe a flood?